Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Leah Monet, and today I am coming with a crochet butterfly lock. They're kind of giving me some twist vibes as well, but they're technically crochet butterfly locks. So I'm going to go through from start to finish how I achieve the look, the hair specs, all of that good stuff. So be sure to stay tuned. Let me just go over the hair specs really quickly. So this hair is from the ZRQ store on Amazon, so obviously you'll get your 2-day shipping. The length of these are 20 inches. It's 20 inches. There are 6 total packs that come in each order, and there are 10 strands per pack, so basically you'll get 60 crochet locks. They recommend between 6 to 7 for an entire head, but again, you'll get the 60 from this order. And I used about 55 of these total to do my install. So as far as how it ships and unboxing, this is the bag that the hair shipped in. The only gift that it came with was the crochet hook, which, you know, most companies typically do that when you have crochet hair. And that's kind of it as far as unboxing. Nothing crazy. I didn't have any smell within the hair, nothing that I noticed. Pretty straight to the point. So I just wanted to show you the actual hair. So this is a lock, and as you can see here, we have a very nice size loop. Can you see that? It's a very nice size loop. So I have no problem with pulling this through, being able to lock it in by pulling this through as well as my braid. So no issues with the loops. The loops are great. It is going to be a little tougher to pull your braid through the actual dread part, but it definitely is doable. And for this part right here, all I essentially did was kind of like braided the hair over. Braided it over to one side, and I kind of just tucked it in there. I only plan on wearing this hairstyle for like 2 weeks, so I didn't feel like having to sew it. So I was lazy, so I kind of crocheted it in and just kind of made a small knot back here. When I'm crocheting, I always like to close the needle or the hook before I pull it through, just so that I can make sure I'm not going to be snagging any of my hair. And I'm actually only going to pull it through one time. One time is usually enough for me to secure it. And like I said, I'm only wearing this for a couple of weeks, so I don't need too many knots in mine. So at this point, the back looks fairly decent. It's filled in. So now just keep in mind the way I crochet mine. I did the back part a little bit lower than where I would typically part it if I wanted to do an updo, and that's because I assume that I will have a row here. So I do have some braids up here that are going to kind of help cover that back side. So once I finish sewing this top, or crocheting the top part, then I'll go back in and see where I need to fill in the back once the hair that's kind of coming forward is covering and how it looks on the side. Crochet hook, take it and put it at the base of my braid. Ooh. These hooks just begin caught. So I pull the hook all the way through, attach that hair. Like I said, I like to close my hook. Hair is through. And then I'll just put my fingers through that hole just like that, pull my braid through and pull the lock through. Plenty of space, so that's like really good. And then I just kind of pull it a bit. So you'll notice that like technically this knot here is pretty loose right here, but being that these are like the butterfly locks, as I'm pulling my braid through, I'll just go ahead and give it a little push up as I'm going through. So you'll see that as I'm doing it. But what I typically do is I go down maybe like 1 inch, maybe 2, and I just start kind of trying to insert the needle inside of the dread. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. So I'll just push it through up to the top. So I always like to attach it at the bottom of my braid because it's thinner down there and it'll be easier to start pulling through, because the top of your braid is typically going to be thicker. So if you start trying to pull the thickest part through first, it's a little tougher. So I always like to pull somewhere near the bottom. And then you might probably want to hold onto the thread as you're pulling it through because it does pull just a bit. You don't want to give too much tension to your hair. And you can see I'm kind of just pulling my braid through. And you can even see the braid there. So that's kind of like that loop area. So you see how I just kind of like squeezed it up? That is what I'm doing to kind of cover the braid. Look at the top. And then I'll just use that same process going down, sticking the hook through as much as I can and pulling my braid through. Alrighty, so my hair is crocheted in. Now it does take some time doing the individual ones because pulling that through and getting the needle to go through definitely takes time. So doing the back with this style of crochet definitely saved me some time because I originally planned on doing these throughout my whole head. And then once I seen how tight these dread pieces are and just how they are how they're rolled, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that, because it would be really hard to see the back of your head where you need to kind of pull that through, and I didn't have time for that today. So this is the final look. So after you see me kind of sew or crochet the top ones in over here, I kind of went back to the back like I said and just kind of just made sure that there weren't any huge gaps. So I'll just turn around for you, and keep in mind, like I said, I had like one row at the top of individual braids, so that kind of helps to cover the actual braid pattern in the back. So I know that there are going to be some spaces. I'm okay with that. I didn't want to have it too heavy, because I will say, you'll feel these. They aren't heavy. I don't feel like my head is being weighed down or anything, but I can definitely tell the difference between these and earlier this morning when I didn't have no hair on my head. So they do have a little bit of weight to them, but it's not too noticeable where I'm like, oh my God, these are heavy, but I definitely feel the weight of these. So keep that in mind as well. And like I said, I use 5.5 of the packs. I hate wearing my locks and twists and everything down because my forehead is just, I always have to do some type of style. So this is probably going to be like my go-to style. Super easy to do. I just put a rubber band and just wrap the hair. I didn't even put anything to kind of hold it. I just tuck the pieces within the rolls and they should stay up. I typically do my stuff like this and I don't have any issues. So this is kind of like the final look of the hairstyle. I think it came out pretty good. I was trying to remember how long it actually took me. It has taken at least 3 hours. The back obviously was pretty quick. And keep in mind, I did do my braids the day before. So when I started this video off, you seen that I already had the individual braids kind of going across the front, and then I had my braids in the back. I did that part yesterday. I would say that probably took me like an hour and a half to do, and then maybe 3 hours today. The longest part is trying to pull the braids through. And I know mine aren't perfect. I wasn't able to get the braid totally in each of the locks for every one of them. But being that this is the same color as my hair, I do feel like it's camouflaged a bit from that. So it was a struggle with the top. That took the longest. I probably did the back in literally 30 minutes or less. And I probably spent 2.5 to 3 hours on the top trying to pull those braids through. So if you like this look, definitely give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.